All right, Trump ringing the jingle bells today on 12/12/24 as he wins that time person of the year, that person. And let's tie some things together because this 12/12 is a division of 2, and it's for a dividing of times and such, and we're under a new time zone with the election, we're told, which was on 11/5, which is symbolic for the 2/5 for the King Spirit being born. And as we're 38 days, including the election day, the 3/8 in times equals 24, but that's how many days it's been since the election today. And so he has the clock in hand, that time, that grandfather clock, and he's ringing the bell, and the clockwise and counterclockwise, these are all coming together as day 2 of the millennium sets forth. But also we have an overlay of day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7. And day 7 is where you have the garden that's been squared up since the Madison Square Garden with Trump. We've been seeing things with that, with the Kamala Moon coming out and Elon Musk, the dark MAGA coming out, and then Justin's son, the World Liberty, World Liberty Financial was started 2 months before the election. Trump is tied to this, which is he's a beneficiary of, and this says there's 6 specialists for government ethics, is saying there's a conflict of interest in ethics. And this is basically when Trump is coming in for the second coming. He's coming in to gather his old global empire, that petrodollar. And this is where we see the quake in California, the 7.0 up the shoreline, in the Humboldt County area that was off the coast near Petrolia, the AI and Petro and those types of things. But this is where all the good green and all that stuff is grown. And so we'll get in that rabbit trail in a little bit. The day before he rings the bell, you have the mothership supposedly being talked about in the ocean, dropping off the Iranian drones and whatever, and these drones being shown in the Garden State, New Jersey, is a mixture of UFO and drones or whatever. So there's a couple things going on there. At the same day, the mothership being talked about, you have, and this is part of that ship hitting that shoreline, the Leave This World Behind play. But you have outages on the platforms like Instagram and those types of things. So all these things are where it's all stacking and going into our reality as the clock sets in for that great tribulation time frame or tribulation time frame, whatever you've been taught to think of. But this is part of that 8 to 12 hour or 8 to 12 year acid trip, the Antichrist ID trips, and the ID stuff is going to come out in different ways with the fake IDs and the real IDs, and all these things are going to play a role, and that worship of the law and the contracts and the parties. And this party's been going on for 24 hours, and people are loaded up, and they've been given a tab basically of ecstasy, of the ketamine, of the pink cocaine, of the regular cocaine, of the methamphetamines, of the pills, poppers, whatever kind of thing is going on, okay? But you've all been given a Mickey, all right? And the Mickey is just came and giving you as the old McDonald and serving some fries, okay? And then Mickey Mouse Land, the Disneyland, has the new Mario Land out there. And then in November, you had Mario wrapping up in the Happy Meals at McDonald's. And then now you got Luigi running loose, okay? So, and you got that killer fashion going on. So on the same day that he's ringing the bell, you have the Travis Timmerman, but that Timerman he's being shown for the time person of the year ringing the bell. So this is where like it's stacking all into where it's boom, 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 boom. Okay, those have the eyes and ears to see and hear. Okay. So then the Canadian, the threat with the power on such with the Trump tariffs and such, this can be a replay on the EMP, and these things can come under Trump's time frame, and as he does these things, present or not present, then that's where you would have the dividing of times and those things, and where he's coming in and taking control of that old global empire and kind of ruling it and bringing it into the wild times or wilderness over the 40 years for judgment and those things. And it's done in a twofold system. And this also lines up with the 20 years of Pluto and whatever. So knowing that the Great Tribulation is opening up, or the tribulation, depending what you've been programmed as far as your churches or whatever, will depend on how you can understand how the second coming marks that time frame where you have the 4 and the 8 and the 12 and stacks on top of it. Okay. So the money, the cross payments, all these are part of being put on the cross, and the Apple Cross Pay, and that's where we can see Microsoft not doing Bitcoin or not doing this, that, and the other, because it's kind of the old technology. And then Apple, they can do the Ripple and Bitcoins and alt currencies and those types of things. So we can see like a parallel of this, that, and the other, where the gates has been an opening, but it's also a closing. And then you have to follow the apple, but it's brought to you as a poison apple. But you have to know that there's a prince on the other side that's going to kiss you and wake you up at the end of it. But a lot of people are going backwards and being stuck in the old time to where they're just going to be stuck there sleeping next to the frog ribbit. And that rib bit. The rib is the RNA, that light for the messenger of the DNA where the armies have gathered. Okay, and that light's been taken out, and the bit is part of that Bitcoin, and there's a leash coming, and you've been eating long enough on that bone. All right. So the banana has been the ice cream in the cone, and you're in the ice cream shop. The banana, you're at the Brahms Southern little joint. That banana, it's been peeled, and now it's going to be sliced in half and served and such. So that's kind of tied to where Bitcoin be cut in half or gone, or however these little things are going to work out. But the Bitcoin is a bait and switch kind of thing. So the Garden State, New Jersey, Mothership, we can see North Dakota, the Peace Garden State. All right. What if the real Mothership shows up over there? Or what if Yellowstone pops off as that ring is being put on the finger? And then we might see something rise up out of there, or it might just pop off just because or whatever, because that old faithful, that old faith, that old time is full. And they basically built a bunch of nuclear silos next to one of the world's largest volcanoes that's can pop any time. So this can, like that ripple effect, where the ripple is turned on per se, and then the Yellowstone pops, and then, or this quake over here pops, that causes Yellowstone to pop, and then the Yellowstone pops, causes the nukes to pop or whatever, and then that causes this. Okay, boom, domino effect. Right, you've already had the domino effect before. This is where the Juan de Fuca plates up for the China And then with the drones and such, it's going to be a play on where I told you America has this attack per se, and Biden plays the wrong way, and then it leads into something bigger. And we've been seeing this unfold in different ways. Okay, so the ripple is supposed to be turning on, unless they backtrack it a little bit, do a little time mechanism. But according to latest dates was 12/13/24, and that'd be a Friday the 13th in your December month for this clock being done and dinged and the ringing and all these other things. The ring is being placed on the finger by the Lord, the Son, on his second coming, the second time for the person of the year in 2016 and to the now, and all these things, dude, it's right there in front of you, peeps. Okay, the little peep peep, the chickadee. It's Kamala. Okay. And I'm sure there's another little chickadee somewhere too, because once this little thing goes down, I'm sure after the Lincoln and Kennedy syndrome, somebody will have to be replaced. The quake real quick, the 7.0, the tsunami, the T-tsunami. The T-sun is I forget the Chinese dude name back in whenever, but that's connected to the things coming. Justin's son is tied to the Tron, and Tron is a replay of the 80s Tron, and we're going to be living in a replay of the 80s and 90s as well as the decades before, and they're going to be stacked on top of each other like since 1910 or whatever. That's all going to be stacked on top of each other as that great tribulation 4 and 8 years and 12 years stacks on top of each other. Okay. But basically, the quake numbers backwards are lining up to today's ringing of the bells and tomorrow's dates and this weekend and all these little things going on. And we have the jingle bells, bobtail ring. All right, the bobtail is tied to the Robert, and the Robert is part of that steel, and that's tied to King John and Little John for the Robin Hood. Okay, and the O'er the fields we go. The crown ER, this would be tied to Biden or Trump, or however they work the double negative on this. But that May King also is setting up. The May King spirit's bright, and the May King on the flip-flop is this month, but also going to be setting up for May for the May Day event and the long shot on those types of things for the butler doing another serving. And then the blankets may be a cover-up for that second coming, all right, in another way. And that would be tied to the rust, and then the bolts, and that would be tied to the bolts for that quake that was just hit for the green. And the green is tied to the money, which is tied to the root of evil, but is also tied to love, because you can't have one without the other, or good or whatever. So good and evil, Satan, Lucifer, rich, poor, they all go together to push and to pull. Either way, y'all, we got to end it because of time here.